She came back for round 2, and it did not go as planned. HARLIE, Kirk versus Naima. The DEI debate that just won't die. But this time, the gloves came off. What started as a clash over inclusion spiraled into a brutal takedown of modern, progressive politics. Buckle up.
Charlie. Yeah, you're gonna have to lower that one for me.
What's your name again?
Thank you. Naima, how are you
Naima,
doing?
it's been a while.
It's been a minute. How have you been?
Great.
That's fantastic. You did do that. I mean, you didn't, but Trump did. Yes.
Collectively, yeah.
Yes, the collective we. So speaking of Trump, I do want to talk a little bit about his policy on DEI. As you know, in his first weeks in office, he signed the executive order declaring that DEI is both unlawful and a threat to national unity. And I just kind of want to ask you to elaborate on why DEI is unlawful.
Well, based on the Civil Rights Act, which I have disagreements with, but based on the Civil Rights Act, which is the law of the land, it says you shall not discriminate based on color, race, creed, or origin of nationality.
Yes.
And DEI definitionally does those things.
How does it definitionally do those things?
So, for example, if you say you are going to hire a certain amount of people or have scholarships only for a certain people, you are then prejudicing against another group.
Which group are you prejudiced against?
White people, Asians as well. I mean, white people are an easy one off the top of your head. So, for example, in the Harvard admissions case, I said this earlier, the average test score for a black individual was around 1,300 SAT, about 3.2 GPA. For a white or Asian, it would be about a 3.9 to 4 GPA, and about nearly a perfect SAT. So you are disenfranchising and stereotyping and prejudicing against whites or Asians in favor of blacks.
You're not prejudicing against whites or Asians, though, because DEI is not on a race basis. DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion of all people. Affirmative action is what is intended to address racial inequality, but DEI isn't on the basis of race.
Well, so DEI is a project of the affirmative action movement. So one comes before the other. He signed an executive order against both, for the record, so I wasn't sure which one you were talking about.
I'm talking about DEI.
So DEI, it depends what we mean in practice. So I can give you one example. There are black-only graduation ceremonies at certain schools, or black-only dormitories.
But those are kind of student-led. I mean, I'm part of a black-only organization, and it's run by students. It's not through the school.
Let's play it out.
The very first exchange. You know, this isn't just a debate, it's a rematch. Charlie comes out swinging, calling Day discriminatory and illegal. Naima fires back, says Day helps everyone, not just minorities. But Charlie is unshaken. He's got the data, and he's ready to unload it.
So if there is a black-only, let's pretend, which it's not, that building is black-only. If I said that, if that building was white,
like the campus center?
No, I said let's pretend it's not.
Yes, hypothetically, yes.
Hypothetically, if that building was white only, you would agree that's a violation of the Civil Rights Act.
Yes, but there are no buildings on campus that are black only and white only.
Well,
and by the way,
but there are on other campuses.
No,
though.
but in those dormitories that are like culturally specific, you don't have to be that culture to live there. They're not going to not allow you to be black to live in a black dormitory.
You would
no,
be
Ujima at
surprised.
Stanford. White people do live at Ujima. That's not.
I don't know about that specific example, but if it says black-only dormitory.
But it doesn't say black only.
But okay, how about this? How about if we had? Well, it does.
It doesn't. Where? Where does it say that?
Just to be clear, well, in the title. But let's pretend it says
where?
black.
Like what school? Where does it say black only building?
Eastern Washington University, Portland State University, just off the top of my head, San Jose State University.
They say black only dormitory? And if a white person were to apply to live there?
It's a black affinity cultural space of which only black individuals are accepted and governed for black individuals. But can we have white affinity cultural spaces?
You can have a white affinity cultural space. The activity is, the issue is that you're saying black only. It's not black only, it's a black affinity cultural space, but anyone is invited if they would like to participate.
I would, first of all,
You cannot legislatively not allow someone of any race to participate in something. That doesn't exist.
We agree. That's the spirit of the diversity, equity, inclusion order, is that DEI in practice, again, we have to go through example after example, is discrimination, prejudice, and segregation.
Well, let's talk about DEI in practice. Let's talk about DEI
Debate climbs, literally, United Airlines Day pledge to hire 50% diverse pilots. That's the new battleground. Charlie sounds the alarm. Mess with merit, and you mess with safety. Naima pushes. Back says diversity doesn't mean incompetence, but Charlie smells tokenism, and once again, he's not backing down.
They benefit veterans, they benefit people with disabilities, they benefit people at an economic desperate, they benefit lots of people that is not just on the basis of race. And to me, it feels like you're conflating DEI with pro-blackness or black only, which is not the definition of DEI.
So let's take a high-profile DEI example. Is that cool? Just maybe one we can play around with?
Okay.
Which I got me in a lot of viral trouble, which I don't care, which is pilots.
I got in a lot of viral trouble too. I was debating this guy,
I
you know.
And he kept interrupting you.
He did!
I know, right? Which is that, let's say DEI. A project of DEI at United Airlines was that we want to get 40% of our pilots to be black or women of color, or women or people of color.
40%.
50, I'm sorry, to get up to 50. It was at like 6%. So therefore, they wanted to make a push towards that, and it was currently at 6%. We look at that and we say, wow, you're going to have to lower standards to get to that goal.
Why would you have to lower standards?
Well, because...
Are you saying that black people are inherently inferior?
I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying that, A, black people are only 13% of the population, so you want 13% of the population.
Women are not 13% of the population. Women are 50% of the population.
Yeah, but women do not make up a majority of people that want to become pilots. In fact, vast majority of women don't want to be pilots.
Maybe they would want to become pilots if the barriers for entry weren't...
Well, see, that now we're going down a different but equally fun direction, which is male-female differences. Men much more likely want to be involved in heavy machinery mechanics. They want to be pilots. They want to be tank operators. They want to be police officers. Whereas women much more likely want to be, you know, I'll get to you, Mason. Don't worry. And I remember your name.
Yes, can Mason go? They won't let him go because he's
I'll
not
let Mason
USC.
go. I'll let Mason go. But just, Mason, have some patience. We did this last time, okay? But do you understand, at least from our perspective, because it's no good for us to go back and forth again, maybe from our perspective, that we worry that the pursuit of diversity can mean the compromising of excellence?
Charlie Kirk, this country is diverse. You can't just say the pursuit of diversity is compromising excellence. Diversity literally just means difference. This country is 13% black, it's 14% immigrant, it's 1/5 of every person in this country is Hispanic, it's 7% homosexual, and 50% of the country disagrees with you.
Okay,
diversity is America. You cannot say
all of that is true.
That you are America first if you do not care about half of America.
I care about them so much, in fact.
You care about them so much that you don't want to give them
I didn't interrupt you.
access
I care
to
about
equal rights.
Well, hold on. No one said rights. Hold on a second. No. I care about them.
It is. It's equal rights. It's
Naima,
equal
let
access.
me finish. Now who's interrupting who?
Got him.
I care about them so much. I want the only thing that they're ever judged on is to be their character or their competency, not their skin color.
Okay, so you want it to be a meritocracy. You want it to be
Yes.
So let's talk about a meritocracy.
Okay.
What experience does Kash Patel have to run the FBI?
He has amazing experience.
No,
In
he
fact,
doesn't. He wanted to start a UFC fighting
He has
program at
amazing
the FBI.
experience. I got 5 words in. He was the most important thing. He was a public defender.
That's not what that's not the job of the FBI. He has no experience in the FBI.
He was a public defender and he was a special prosecutor.
Was he ever a member of the FBI?
No, but
he doesn't have the merit to have
hold
that.
on a second.
All right, let's do another example.
But
what
I'm
experience
not
does
done.
Linda McMahon?
I'm not
what
done.
experience does Linda McMahon have to run?
She ran the
Department of
Small
Education?
Business Administration in the first term, which is a big organization. She was the head of the SBA.
When she was the CEO of
No, hold on.
WWE,
I'm not even talking about that. She ran the SBA. By
one
the way,
of her employees was engaging in pedophilic behavior with their ring boys under her watch.
I'm not going to defend
and now
that.
she is somehow qualified to be responsible for all of America's children?
Hold on a second. She was previously a cabinet secretary and then became a different cabinet secretary. That's like a one-to-one.
Yeah, and then before that, she was enabling a pedophile.
So what you're first of all, I don't know about that instance. If that's true, that's wrong.
That's very much true. How do you not know about that, Charlie?
I don't know about
It's like very much
again,
public information. It's really important to know that the head of the Department of Education is currently in a lawsuit.
But let me finish the point, which is that the WWE can be easily made fun of. That's a serious business, though. It's a multi-billion-dollar business.
It is, that engaged in pedophilic activities.
Of which I denounce. I don't support that. However, she was head of the SBA, and now she's head of the Department of Education.
Wrap this up. This wasn't just a rematch. It was a referendum on how far the pendulum of progress has swung. Charlie Kirk came armed not with feelings, but facts, legal precedent, and cultural reality. Checks onto him. Day isn't about fixing history. It's about reshuffling opportunity based on group identity. Violating the core of the Civil Rights Act, Nima tried to pivot. She framed Day as fairness, a support structure for veterans, the disabled, the poor. But that move clashed hard against the receipts Kirk brought. Racial quotas, segregated graduations, hiring mandates. She said Day wasn't racial but the policies. The stats, the outcomes, said otherwise. Then came the heat. Black-only dorms and graduations. Nima called them safe spaces. Charlie flipped it with a single question. Would white-only versions be allowed? Silence spoke louder than rebuttal. Then he dropped a balmy 6% of new S&P 500 hires between 2021 to 2023 were white Americans. NAI. MA called it overdue balance. Kirk called it modern discrimination. You can't preach equality while pushing exclusion. Even Trump-era appointments came up to name attacked names like Kash Patel and Linda McMahon. Kirk deflected it as partisan smear and pivoted to the real question. Who defines merit? Her side leaned on credentials. His side leaned on outcomes. And that's the divide. Credentialism vs. performance. A system built on ideals versus one grounded in reality. At the end of the day, what made this debate land wasn't the volume. It was the exposure. The internal contradictions. Day claims to include, but often divides. Claims to uplift, but plays favorites. Preaches equality, but enforces group-based exceptions. Charlie laid those contradictions bare. Nima had passion, but no answer for the gaps between theory and practice. And that's why the crowd leaned his way, because when idealism met evidence, only one side had the receipts.